This episode of the New Hampshire Business Show is sponsored by Everlasting Capital. If you're a small business and you need money and a bank won't give it to you, Everlasting Capital is here to help. In as quickly as a couple of days, you can have the funding your business needs for new equipment or anything else you need the capital for. So submit your application today and see how they can help you out. Hello everyone, welcome back to the New Hampshire Business Show, live in our, no, not live, but in our new studio. It doesn't look very different from where I'm sitting because I still got the corner right here. But as you can see, boom, it's completely different on the other end. So today I have Kevin Eng.
Yep.
From Freelance Computing with us. So tell us a little about yourself.
Okay, so I am originally from Lawrence, Massachusetts, and then I moved to Methuen, and then from there I met my wife. Then we ended up moving up with her in Nashua. Then we lived in Milford, and now we are in Salem, New Hampshire. For my computer business, I've been doing it since I was a kid. Ever since growing up, I love to take things apart and put them back together. Got myself into a lot of trouble. Thankfully, not too much because my parents never really found out about it because, while they were at work, I would always do everything at home. One of the biggest stories I usually tell people is I took apart my dad's Rolex when I was a kid. And I put it in, what happened was I just took the back panel off and one of the springs popped out. So I'm like, oh crap, I need to fix this. My dad's going to murder me. So I ended up putting it back together and ended up putting it right back into the bedroom before he got home from work as he was walking in the door. So he caught me going into his bedroom and I got punished for that, but he never knew the exact reason why I was there. I never told him. And then from there, just took stupid things like their high five system, their television, all the expensive stuff like back in the 80s and 90s when I was a kid. And then from there, they worked for Hewlett Packard. So we were able to get computers from there. And then, those computers back then, they cost about $25,000 to $3,000. So I started taking those apart. And I got in trouble with that because I took it apart and my parents came home from work and you just see pieces of the computer all spread across the kitchen floor. But thankfully I was able to put it back together. They got a new one. They told me the old one's yours and new one's ours, don't touch it. But the first thing I did was I took the thing apart. And so then I guess from there, I've always loved getting my hands dirty. I just love taking things apart, trying to figure things out. And this was before the time of internet and Google. So you guys are lucky that you could just use like iFixit or something. You could love YouTube videos, Back then, though, I didn't have any of that. So you literally had to figure it out on your own, which, I'm actually very thankful for. I mean, using iFixit and YouTube now definitely does help. But still, there are things that, you can't really find a guide online, so you start trying to figure that out. And that's the stuff that I love to do. So that's why for my business, primarily it's computer repair. But I kind of venture off on other things too, like like phones, tablets, even like consoles, like Xboxes, PlayStations. Anything that could be pretty much taken apart. That's what I usually work on. I try to look up the parts, try to fix it, and if I can't, I'll tell you honestly, like, look, it's not worth my time. It's not worth your time. Parts, labor, yada yada yada. I'll just tell it to you straight. Like, you could actually get a refurbished one for around the same price. They could still choose if they wanted to have me fix it or not. But I still give them that option, and they usually appreciate that, So I mean, because you'll be out for a couple of days, whatever I'm fixing, or you spend a couple of days and get a refurbished one. Either way. So that's pretty much my business. My store is in Concord, New Hampshire, but I also run my business out of Salem, New Hampshire also. So I cover two zones. So I get the people from like Massachusetts up. And then with Concord, I get the people from, like up North Country, like down a little bit. So like Lincoln, Franklin, like those type of areas. So I try to cover both with that. So,
Cool. No, with computers, I'm awful. Straight up.
Don't really feel bad.
Really bad at it. How do you keep track of all this stuff? Like, so just like, for instance, as I was telling you before, I had someone build a computer for me a year and a half ago. didn't go well. Well, it went well until the motherboard
while it was
right?
working. Right.
And then, so now you're sitting there and I'm like, okay, so now I got to figure out either have this thing fixed, so you got to figure out what's wrong with it.
Right.
Or you just get something new. And
yeah, right.
I just spent a bunch of money to get something new because I wasn't going to go down.
Which, to be honest with you, a lot of people tend to do that because I don't want to say unfortunately, but it is that, you know, nowadays technology is increasing so quickly and it's so cheap that people tend to go that route where they're like, okay, well, this is broken. I could just buy another one for X amount and just get it over with and not even deal with the repair. But one of the big things that I usually push to people is, you know, yes, you could get a new one, but then now you have to repurchase or reinstall all your programs.
Yeah.
And then your data. I've heard so many stories of people telling me like, oh, I never backed up my data. And not a lot of people usually do because they never really think about it because, you know, one and done, right? They buy the computer, they leave everything there, and then that's it. But when it comes to their computer breaking, like your desktop, now you have your data, but it's stuck in that drive, but you can't access it. So, you know, so I always give them that option. Well, we could fix it so it'll be like nothing's really changed. Or you could get a new one, but we still have the option and we could still transfer all your stuff over. You know what I mean? So, but sorry, back to your question. How I keep track of everything? So it's a lot of reading and a lot of YouTube. So I follow a lot of channels. Big ones are like Linus Tech Tips, Jay's 2 Cents, and then there's Bitwit, Kyle, and you know. So I try to keep up, watching those YouTube videos whenever there's something new, and then when there's like big events like CES or anything like that or Computex. I read like all the keynotes and all the live feeds and everything like that, just to keep. That's just a technology part of it. When it actually comes to the actual system building, that's where it comes to like a lot of reading. So whenever Intel or AMD releases new CPUs, or if Asus or Gigabyte or MSI releases new motherboards, NVIDIA releasing new video cards, you know, like everything with that. You know, I force myself to read all of it because I know that the moment I stop reading it, even for a little bit, I'll have no idea what the heck just happened. Because technology is going so quick, and they're dropping new stuff like every 6 months. It's probably sooner. Even like Apple products. I mean, Jesus, they come up with like the 6 and the 6S, and the 7 and then the 5. They're like, there's so many different models, and the MacBook and the MacBook Pros and the MacBook Airs.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness, like they were just like cash cow, right? They're coming out with all these things.
Yep.
And what's disappointing is that, you know, I tried to have a conversation with these people and I asked them like, why are you buying the 6S when you already have the 6? Oh, because it's new. I'm like, just because it's new doesn't mean it's that much better. Yeah. Like you're paying this much more for something that's like this much better. Like it doesn't make any sense, but unfortunately a lot of people get caught in what's called the halo effect with Apple products, which I have no judgment with Apple. I mean, I have Apple products too, but I don't pay the premium. I usually get them used, or they're broken and I am fixing them for cheap, you know, and then I just end up using it for myself. So, a lot of internet time, I guess is the best way of putting it.
That's good because I have this issue because I don't follow that type of stuff. It's not what I do.
That's good. You should, because there's a lot. There's a lot going on.
But like I said, my computer goes down.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, I'm going to go buy a new one. So here I am in said store. There's 100 displays of all these computers. He's like, well, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
So I'm like, at least for me, I could say I needed something that can run at least 2 cameras and this the same time and not lose quality.
Correct.
But for most people, they're like,
they have no idea.
I have to do office work. Like, so what's the difference between this computer and then this one where they both do it, and then you're trying to figure out, and I'm like, oh, this one, it has more numbers in its name.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this has a keypad? Ooh, I want that one. You know?
And it's like...
It's all aesthetic.
It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually used to work for Geek Squad.
Okay.
For Best Buy years ago down in Danvers. So I know what you're talking about, you know, and that's the thing too. Like, what's interesting about Best Buy is like you go in there, so you have the people on the sales floor, And they generally know like a decent amount. But when it starts to get to like the techno aspects, that's when they go to the counter and they pull one of the Geek Squad agents. So now if like for you, if it's like something that you just need like basic, like, oh, I just need to do this, this, and this, people in the blue shirts, they can take care of you. But of course, you have those other people that are like, oh, I want to do 1080p gaming, and they can do all these type of specs. They're like, okay, let me grab a Geek Squad agent for you, and some of them will do that. But a little, I don't know if I'm gonna get docked for this, but I don't work for them anymore. But I don't know if they still do this or not. But one of the practices that they used to do over in Best Buy was so we have units that are end of life, right? So there are only a certain amount of shelf life, and then at a certain point, after so long, you have to send those laptops back to the company. Excuse me, and you get reimbursed like a very little amount. They basically lose money off of it. So what they try to do is that they try to sell you the units before they hit end of life.
Okay.
So every week or two, they'll have like a spec sheet, and they'll highlight the ones that are end of life and how many we have left in stock. So what they try to do is say if we have like 2 machines that are end of life, they'll try to have you sell those 2 so they make the most money out of it, rather than send it back to the manufacturer and then they lose money. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to like customers that walk in, they're like, oh, I need a computer that does this, this, and that. Depending on who the individual is, they will try to sell you that one that's end of life. I mean, if it fits your needs, yeah, they'll go for that one. But if it's completely out of spec, then normally they wouldn't. Unfortunately, there are still every Best Buy works independently. So just because one Best Buy does something, not all of them do it. You know what I mean? Because one of the big things is like Geek Squad. There was a report that someone like from Geek Squad like stole someone's data.
Yeah.
So then, of course, now that stigma is on every single like Best Buy Geek Squad. But that's not that was that own individual, even not even as the company. But what I was saying before is, there are some people there that will actually listen and try to sell you the best unit that you could use it for. But in the back of their mind, they have their managers basically telling them like, hey, make sure you try to sell these end of life machines before you try to go on the other ones. So when it comes to big box stores and pre-built machines, I mean, they're getting a lot better now.
Yeah.
But for me, I still think that building your own machine is still better. And I'm talking about desktops.
Yeah.
Laptops, a lot. You could do it, but it's a lot harder. Even just trying to find like a chassis that fits everything, it's a mess. Or you could just take an angle grinder, and just cut your own ports in the back and make it fit. You know what I mean? But case modding, right? That's pretty much what we call it. But there are unfortunate parts that you have a custom built machine. And like anything else, parts only last for so long. I'm actually really surprised that yours died so quickly, but it's probably because of the manufacturer that we talked about.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the reason why. But I've always built my own machines. I've never went through a big box store and bought a Dell or Lenovo or Gateway, like any of those pre-built machines. I've always for desktops I've always built my own because I could customize it. B, I know what I'm buying, and C, the part that kind of stinks is that if the one part that is broken, you have to pretty much figure it out. But the nice thing about buying the parts individual, they have separate warranties, and they're usually a lot longer. Usually, when you buy like a laptop or desktop, they'll give you like a 1 year, maybe manufacturing, and then Best Buy or whatever store that you buy it from, they'll add like the 2 year whatever. But when you buy individual parts, like my RAM is lifetime warranty. So if any point in time, no matter how old the stick is, if it dies, I can send it back and they'll send me a new one. So that's a really good deal.
Yeah.
And then like with the power supplies and motherboards and stuff like that, it's usually between like a 1 almost up to like a 5 year.
Yeah.
Like EVGA, great company. I think they have like a 3 or 5 year on their power supplies, on their graphics cards. Like that sort of thing. So, so I always like building my own because I feel like it's more personal and I know what I'm doing, like what I'm buying actually, instead of, having them mass produced, like the ones in Walmart, like the CyberPower PCs. They're decent, but of course they nickel and dime on one of the most important parts, which is the power supply. If you look at the power supply, it's like that thing's like $10-15.
Yeah.
But it's running your entire system.
Yeah.
And of all things for them to cheap out on was the power supply, one of the most important parts. So that's the part that drives me nuts.
Yeah.
That's why I can't do that. You know?
I hear that happening a lot though.
Oh,
and a lot of your budget of whatever.
Right.
That's typically what they do is they cheap, and they have
Yeah.
something that you're like, why would you skim on that?
But they're like, it turns on. It's fine. You're not
Yeah,
gonna
it
notice.
works.
Yeah, until you press the power button and you see a spark and like little smoke signals.
Everything's
come
gone.
on. Yeah.
So with you guys, you build, you help repair these people's computers in their times of need, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever run into issues where, like we're saying, everything's advancing so quickly that
Right.
you're like, yeah, this isn't a thing anymore. Like, I know you bought this like 5 months ago, but there's no fixing this.
It does. It happens more times than often, but we leave it up to the customer's decision. So I mean, it doesn't matter what it is or how old it is. If you bring in like, actually, we just had a customer come in. She brought in what was it? The Amazon Kindle, like the 7-inch tablet, the Amazon HD Fire tablet, right? Mm-hmm. So the thing costs like $80, right? It's cheap. She cracked the screen. So we looked up the parts and labor, and we basically told her straight out, you might as well just buy another one. She's like, how much does it cost for us to fix it? We're like, parts and labor, like over $100. And she's like, but I only paid $80 for it. I'm like, yes, this is why we're telling you, don't have us fix it because we're trying to be honest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then go buy another one. You know what I mean? And we've had people who, oh my goodness, we had some other customer bring in like a Windows XP machine, and he wanted it fixed. And we're like, okay, well, do you have the licensing for XP? Because we have to reformat it and everything like that.
Yeah.
He's like, I think I do somewhere, but we found it was actually on the bottom of his laptop. But the thing is, though, like, we don't have a copy of XP. Like, who the hell still has a copy of XP? So we had to do a little digging, and we ended up finding a copy. And we asked him, like, "Are you sure you don't want to upgrade?" Like, no, I want XP. I'm like, well, it's not supported. We told him all these reasons to upgrade, and he's like, absolutely not. And he was adamant. We're like, okay. So we backed up his data, reinstalled it. Well, before that, we asked him, like, do you have your programs? Because you can't buy a new program and expect to install an XP. It 9 times out of 10 it won't work.
Yeah.
Because it's so old that it can't even handle it. They're like, yeah, I still have all the old software and everything like that. I was like, okay, so we backed up his data, we reinstalled Windows XP, and then he brought his software in and we helped him reinstall it. And it was good as new. We cleaned it out a little bit. We did like a physical cleaning.
Yeah.
Like all the fans, because God forbid, that laptop must have been like over 10, 15 years old, and he's never cleaned it. So there were just chunks of stuff just all stuck in that fan.
Yeah.
It was disgusting. I had to bring it outside and use a compressor. But anyways, the stuff that we see at our store, I mean, it ranges from like wicked old to like from yesterday, you know what I mean? So but there's no what's the word I'm looking for? Bias, I guess, when it comes to us fixing anything. I mean, like, even for me back at home, I mean, I still fix Xbox 360s.
Yeah.
Because it's like for their kids. It's not online or anything, but they just throw in a game, like a Lego game or whatever, and just have the kids play around with it. And then you have the vintage stuff. Like PlayStation 2s, like the originals, like
my old Panasonic.
Yeah. Because you still have those people who are still those like hardcore, like old school. It's just a feeling of plugging in that Nintendo. Yeah. And playing the actual like console versus like using like an emulator or something. But those things, like I still fix them too. And they were like ecstatic because like, I can't believe you fixed this. This thing's like 30 years old or whatever. And I'm like, well, you're welcome. Whatever.
Yeah.
Here you go.
It was actually much easier. The components.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, the components are like, you cracked it open, like there's like so much empty space. I just say, it's for like air ventilation, whatever. But yeah, it's a lot different too. Yeah. Working on old vintage stuff versus like stuff nowadays. Yeah. Yeah, newer stuff is so integrated and intricate. Like you have to be very delicate. Well, back then you pop the thing open, you rip a capacitor out, buy another one for like 50 cents, they shove it in there, and then boom, and it works. It's amazing. Yeah. So much simpler back then.
So, That's a pretty good question then.
Okay.
So most people aren't doing, I shouldn't say they aren't doing a lot with their lives, but a lot of people just want, like you said, they want the biggest, the best, and everything. Do you often find people are just, they have too much computer for what they need?
Okay. For me, my opinion is never too much.
Okay.
For example, my setup at home, I used to have 6 monitors.
Okay.
It was my command center.
Yeah.
I did it for gaming when I had time to play games back then. And then, it's also to show off to when people come over.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap, like, what do you do here? And I was like, well,
Yeah.
I do a lot of stuff. But, so I've downgraded to 4 monitors now. I have 3 on the top, and then I have the Ultra on the bottom. But no, I've seen people's rigs or setups, and they have like my friend Paulie, he has, oh my God, literally, he has like a 55-inch like OLED panel here, monitor. I'm like, okay, and he does like podcasts, he does like live streaming on Twitch and everything.
Yeah.
But does he need like 6 monitors and a television? No. But is it nice to have? Absolutely. You know what I mean? So, so I mean, everyone has their own preference.
Yeah.
I go by the whole, it's better to have and not need than need and not have.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, I've seen people that have, oh my goodness, this might be a little bit extreme. Like they'll have like like an Intel 9900K or like a Threadripper AMD, which is like way too much than what you need. And they have like all this stuff and like custom water cooling and RGB everything, and they play like Minecraft or CS:GO, and I'm like, why do you don't need this? He's like, I know I don't need it, but it's nice to have, isn't it? And I was like, all right, you know what? And see, and I can't judge them for that.
Yeah.
Because who knows? Maybe down the line they'll play like Shadow the Tomb Raider, or they want to get into like VR or 4K gaming and stuff like that. So they'll have the hardware. They're pretty much future proofing themselves, I guess is the best way of putting it. You know what I mean? So they have all this stuff, and at that point in time, no, they're not going to use it all. But who says later down the road that like, oh, now that they have it, and they probably got it on sale.
Yeah.
And I also tell people too, because technology changes so quickly, if you could wait, it's better to wait, because now when something new comes out, the older stuff gets cheaper.
Yeah.
But there are some people who are just like impulse buy. They're like, no, I have to have it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, then go right ahead. Like when Nvidia just released like the RTX like 2080s, like the brand new video cards and everything like that, everyone was all about it. And I know people who actually waited a long time, like 3-4 weeks, until they finally got it. They installed it, and they're like, that's it. Like, I dropped like almost $2,000 for what? You know what I mean? Because they released a card, but there were no games that utilized the RTX.
Yeah.
So now they're sitting there waiting, like, can developers please, like, so they future-proof themselves, but now they're waiting like another couple of months to actually like use the card for what they bought it for.
That's funny.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot of situations like that. You'll buy stuff and you can't really use it, or you don't really need to use it at that point in time, but in the future, there'll be, now you have it, so now you could use it. So
That's pretty funny.
yeah. So never enough. It's never enough when it comes to computers.
Never enough.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too good. There's a bunch of areas where I'm always like that. I don't have any on me today, but I wear a lot of rings.
Yeah.
Like,
See,
there's never enough. There's always that something.
Yeah.
Someone
and you like
deems
swap
as-
them, like even watches.
Yeah, people with watches.
accessories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
People love that stuff. I love. Yeah. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not very great with my computer.
Which is fine.
I mean, I literally, all I'm capable of doing is pretty much running the show.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do anything else fancy, or I would, but I
Yeah,
can't.
right. Well, yeah, and the biggest comparison and the easiest comparison actually when it comes to computers is actually like cars.
Yeah.
For example, like you have to basically clean your car, like you have to do maintenance, like oil changes, yada yada. Same thing with the computer, you got to clean up the fans. Excuse me, you don't want to leave your computer running all the time, like you wouldn't leave your car running like all day, you know what I mean? But even when it comes to like going back to the whole, like, is it too much? Like, okay, do you really need a 7 Series BMW? No. But is it nice to have? Absolutely. Because if you want to cut someone off that pissed you off on the highway, yeah, you have that power.
You have that ability, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like my mom, for example, my parents we drove Buick, Oldsmobile, and then like Honda and Toyota, right? Now my dad's retired. He's got money to spend. Congratulations, Dad. And you know, so now he has a BMW, an X3, and then he bought my mom a Mercedes. Now my mom, I love her to death, but man, it's just funny how when she went from like a Honda Accord to a Mercedes, now she has like a V6 or like a twin turbo, whatever. So I remember I was talking to her and she was like, yeah, the car goes really fast. I'm like, yeah, Mom, it's a V6. She's like, yeah, it's a lot different than the Honda. I'm like, what did you do? She's like, oh, she was on the highway and I guess someone cut her off, but she had to take the exit because she was in the right lane. So she said, screw this guy, and she basically moved and she floored it to cut the guy out to take the exit. I was like, in 30-something years, I've never heard my mom cut somebody off, but she's like, yeah, now I could do it because I could never do it in the Honda.
Yeah, wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, it was great. I was like, good for you, Mom. Now she loves it.
I love that. So where are we looking to take the business in the future? Like,
okay.
We help people now. We do some things. You move to or how long have you been operational in Concord?
Okay, so here's a little bit of history when it comes to the store. So the store was actually owned by my wife's cousin.
Okay.
So that store has been there for I think about 5 years, a little bit longer. It was under the old name Local PC Solutions. I mean, if you Google it, it still comes up. So basically, he ended up getting another opportunity, and he was actually just planning on just dumping the store. Like, I don't want it anymore. But I ran my Freelance Computing from home in Salem for a couple of years. Not officially, unfortunately. Now I am, but I'm still under a year, which kind of stinks because I can't get business loans. But that's besides the point. Sorry. So he contacted me, and he was basically, "Hey, I actually have a storefront. Do you want one? Because I don't think you have one." I was like, maybe, I don't know. So, because Concord is a little bit far, it's like about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Not that the drive is long. I'm used to the driving, but when people hear Concord, they're like, ugh, like that's so far away. I'm like, it's not too bad. But anyways, so I went up, looked around, and ran a couple of numbers. We shook hands and we made a deal. And the great part about it is that it was a computer repair store. So it was turnkey as is. He's like, everything in the store is yours, just not the employee. So then Nick, my employee, I actually rehired him under my company because A, it saves me time so I don't have to be there all the time, and B, I don't have to find somebody new.
Yeah.
He's already ran the store for about 1.5 years. So why would I get rid of that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So with that store, under me, it's been since I bought the store in March. So it's only been a couple of months.
Yeah.
But so far it's doing well. And for the future of the store, ultimately, basically I don't want to just do computer repair. So I'm trying to combine what I do for my freelancing with this computer repair store. Mm-hmm. So we do on-sites also. So small businesses who, let's say they just started up that you just moved here. Yeah. So imagine that example, but now you just ordered 10 computers and you want them all networked with file sharing, printer sharing, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's where I come in. Okay. So I'll come in, I'll do a free assessment, basically saying okay, this is what you want to do, this is what you need, and this is how long and how much it's going to cost. So I'll do all that, and then I give it to you, and then you give me a yay or nay. And I take no offense with people who like to shop around. I still like to think that I give the best prices when it comes to that, but that's just subjective, right? Yeah. But, there are people that are like, oh, is it okay if I get back to you? They're trying to be nice about it. I'm like, listen, it's like buying a car, right? I give you one price, you're going to try to find a better price. Perfectly fine. I take no offense to it. But I already know in my head that you're going to come back to me. Yeah. Because I'm just that confident, and I know, because I've been doing it for so long. So I'm trying to combine that with what we're doing here, and then ultimately open multiple locations. I was thinking about franchising, but probably not. Franchising gets a little bit messy. But basically, I would like to have at least probably 2 or 3 more stores. I would like one back at home around Salem, but there is a lot of competition where I live. Like there's like 3 or 4 other PC repair shops, so maybe not. And then, there's Showtime Computer, which is down in Hudson, so I do want to have multiple stores, but in different areas where there's not too much competition.
Yeah.
But even if there was, that's fine. I mean, even up in Concord, there was another company down the street that was competition, but they didn't do very well. So,
Well, that's bad for them. Good for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's still Best Buy. There's Easy Tech at Staples. Like it's still around there. But I like the what's the word I'm looking for? I like the when you walk into somewhere, the presence. Not the presence. Geez, I can't. I'm having a mind for it. Basically, when you walk into my store, it's very like it's not commercial.
Yeah.
You could tell it's a mom and pop store.
Yeah.
You walk in, you see some computers on display, you got 2 chairs, you got the desk and a TV that I haven't been using lately. But you walk in there and it's very like personal feeling. You talk to me or you talk to Nick. And then like we try to help you out, and and you could always give us a call. We'll pick up the phone, and we'll talk to you. Not like when you go to a big box store where all they're trying to do is sell you something and try to get money, like your P&L, your bottom line. Like all they care about is revenue. But for us, like both me and Nick, wicked smart kid, but we both enjoy what we do, and we try to help other people in what we do also. You know what I mean? So that's ultimately where I want to be. It's just basically share information, have multiple places, and just try to help out as much as I can. You know what I mean? And try to stick it to the man when it comes to corporate. Because I've been there and I've worked there, so I know how they think and stuff like that. So
I like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks.
Anyway, so thanks for coming down today. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Oh, I wanted to give you something actually.
Oh.
So just a flash drive.
Oh, awesome.
With Freelance Computing, because shameless plug, right? So just a flash drive. I do sell these on Amazon.
Okay.
So I will send you the link, and then
Cool.
you could do your affiliate and everything like that. So yeah, that's for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's pretty cool.
I think it's think it's blank. So after we cut, can you just plug it in just to make sure? Just really quick, I promised my wife I would plug her business too.
Okay,
So we have 2 companies actually now. So one's called Abnormal Creations 2, where we make things made out of birch trees, like home decor type of stuff.
Yeah.
So like candle holders, Christmas ornaments, like stuff like that. We're on Etsy and we're also on Amazon. And we actually just opened up a store in the Rockingham Mall in Salem called Locally Handmade, where we basically consign with other people. So if you make anything like local, I think we did like a 20-30 mile radius or whatever. We're still looking for vendors. We could fit about 200. Right now we're at about like 30-35 people, and we're doing really well, which is great. We just had a soft opening June 1st, but we have a grand opening July 13th. So if you're ever around the area, please stop by and check it out.
Yeah,
and if you know anyone who does like handcraft stuff, let us know, and we could, we'll show them what the space looks like, and if it's something that we want in our store, we'll be more than happy to have you come check it out. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. It's awesome.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Definitely check it out. I will put a link to these up online because that's kind of cool. Yeah. It's always good to support local. So everyone have a great day. Be good.
Thank you.